Broke the story on local homestead tax credit fiasco. Exposed the Evansville Redevelopment Commission excessive spending habits.
Your community watchdog. CityCountyObserver.com is your online community newspaper dedicated to the progress of Evansville and Vanderburgh County. We're a nonpartisan publication providing insight into political issues and events that shape our community. We are a watchdog for you, the citizen. Check us out online, city-countyobserver.com. That's city-countyobserver.com.
Tri-State Voices, an open discussion with area leaders on issues affecting communities throughout the tri-state. Now, here are your hosts, Cheryl Musgrave and Mark Owen.
Welcome to Tri-State Voices, the region's premier political talk show. I'm Cheryl Musgrave, your Republican host, and joining me tonight is Mark Owen, a Democrat without comparison in our whole area.
And I am Mark Owen, and we welcome you today. And we've got a great show planned for you today. The Democratic candidates for 6th Ward City Council are with us.
And this is the last of our contested primary races for primary election 2015. So this is really exciting. What's not exciting, Mark, is that we haven't had any luck getting our mayoral candidates to come on board.
Well, we had one of the candidates, the Republican incumbent mayor, declined.
He declined
and
doesn't want to be on our show.
I have texted the Democrat candidate. I haven't heard back from her, but she'll come.
You think
We're
so?
going to get her.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to count on you, Mark.
And tonight we do have the 6th Ward City Council candidates. And seated to my left is Al Lindsay. He's the incumbent city councilman. Al, take a minute and tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. I am the incumbent, and I'm running for my second term. And a few things about myself. I'm a Vietnam era veteran. I served 31 years in the military. I served overseas during the Iraq and Enduring Freedom. I'm also married. I have married to Krista Lindsay, and I have 2 children, 4 grandchildren. I'm also a captain on the Evansville Fire Department. Well, I'm soon to be 30 years of that. And a few things about myself also was that I was a small business owner. I've owned my own business for 25 years, so I've been pretty busy, but not too busy to step up and try to support my community by representing them as a city councilman.
Al, thank you. And we also have with us the other Democratic candidate, who is, tell us about yourself.
Jim Brinkmeyer.
Yeah.
Jim,
Thank you. Well, I am 50 years old. I grew up on the west side, went to Wrights High School, graduated in 1982, went to USI, got into teaching. I've been teaching for 25 years, 23 years at Wrights. 1 year I was assistant principal at North, and 1 year I taught at Central. I have 2 kids. Evan, my son, is 22. He's going to graduate from USI in May. He was a presidential scholar there and played basketball. Then I have 1 daughter who's 8, and she is a second grader, Haley.
Well, let me throw out the first question. It's a standard question, and let's give Jim a chance to continue on for a minute. Why are you running for this office?
Well, I'm running because in the course of just watching the interactions of the city council in the last couple years, it just doesn't seem like enough is getting done. It seems like there's a lot of pettiness, squabbling, and we have a lot of big issues that really need to be solved, and I just felt like it wasn't getting done.
Okay.
Al, why are you seeking re-election?
Well, I think
You've had 4 years.
yeah.
To
Well, it's
go
been a
through it.
rough 4 years, but you know what? I've never ran from a fight. And I never will. And I think I've stood up for the 6th Ward and the citizens of Evansville. We've had a lot of issues come forward, and I consider myself a fiscal conservative. I try to live within my means, and I understand about a budget since I've been a small business owner. And I think that our city has been going in the wrong direction as far as fiscally, because I think we're overspending. And I've stepped up several times and been the first to go against the $38 million subsidy to the hotel. Johnson Control. That was a $55 million project that I worked with the other council members to cut $11 million from. Right after I was elected, they brought forward the Earth Care, and it didn't take me long to figure out, with my experience as far as a business owner and just my life experiences in general, that this was not a good deal, and that it really wasn't a lucrative agreement for the city. It was basically just someone who was trying to pass through and make a profit off the city of Evansville. So I think, all in all, I've stood up strong for the west side. I'm disappointed in some things that have been going on, but I think I definitely can run on my past experiences and my votes.
Well,
And so now, as I understand that the law says that if there was been a change in the statute and you plan to retire.
That's correct, yeah. Well, I was going to retire anyway. I'm going to be 60 in August, and I'm going to retire on October 2nd. But either way, I would have retired with my first term. I mean, I felt that strongly about it, that I was willing to retire early just to take this council seat, because I could see a void in the representation in the 6th Ward, and I wanted to fill that void because I knew that I could do it. I knew the kind of person I am and how I'm in touch with the people in the 6th Ward, because I'm basically the same type of person as they are. What I lack in education, I more than make up for my life experiences and my ability to understand right from wrong and what's good for the community and what's good for the citizens.
Okay.
well, this might be the perfect time to talk about exactly where the 6th Ward is. It is on the city's west side. It covers all the way, near to the county, near to the big shopping center on the west side, and it gets very close to downtown Evansville, but doesn't come into the central business district. And if you take a look at the map and examine it, you'll see that it's a fairly big portion of our city, and also the location of your employer, the Wrights High School. Tell us a little bit about what you do there.
Well, I teach government and economics and U.S. history. I coach track and field, and I coach basketball. I coached basketball for 22 years, and I guess this is maybe my 20th year of coaching track.
Oh, wow.
Now, you mentioned that you felt that there was some contentious behavior or some, I'm not sure how you termed it. What exactly, do you mean between each other, between the council and the mayor, or what?
Well, a lot of the articles in the paper that detail what happens within the council has not cast the council in a positive light. And I mean, any business that wants to locate in Evansville, that from the outside is looking in at what our council's doing, I don't know that that's a positive thing.
Are you talking between the council and the mayor, or?
Well, I mean, to be quite honest, I believe the hotel needs to be built. I believe had the council and the mayor sat down and actually been honest with each other and met somewhere in the middle, I think maybe that project could have already been off the ground. Obviously, if they were able to downsize the project to the point now where it's going to fit within the budget constraints, that's something possibly that could have been done from the start.
Well, it's my understanding, though, Al, that there was actually a contract in place the day that Winicky took office on a brand-new hotel, and he decided to terminate that and start the process from scratch and start all over again. And that was the first delay that ever occurred. And how do you respond to some of the things that Jim mentioned?
Well, cooperation's a great thing when it's everybody's going in the right direction. But when you're not going in the right direction, all that is just being a yes man for the mayor. And I don't think I ran for that reason. I ran to represent the city and the 6th Ward. The first package was a $38 million subsidy to an out-of-town company. I mean, there was nothing good in that for anyone. And the point about the hotel is, I would like to make, I think we were going completely in the wrong direction. We should have pursued the medical center first, and the hotel would have been done by by private industry. You know, demand would have made a hotel a feasible option downtown. Now, when you're having to subsidize a hotel, it's really never going to make any money. It would never have made any money under the original agreement, because you know, you don't just build a hotel and then people come to live to stay in it. You know, it's got to be. It doesn't create demand. The building of hotels does not create demand. And to say that, you know, that we want to give a company $38 million to come down and build a hotel, I think was just completely. And I don't think the citizens were for that. I don't think they're for this hotel now, because the simple fact is there's too many other things that are being pushed to the side, like roads, sewers, sidewalks. I mean, you could go on and on. I mean, it's just, in my mind, it's ridiculous to subsidize something that would naturally happen if we did things in the proper order, which would be the medical center first, and then the demand for a hotel will created by the medical center will, of course, have a private contractor, a private hotel management company would come in and would build it, and probably with little or no subsidy, and would be more than glad to do that.
Well, we've talked a lot about city finances here tonight. Let me ask the tough question here. In order to correct a perceived situation, would you be willing to raise taxes? And this is a one-word answer.
No.
Okay, and?
No.
No. All right.
Well, knowing that the city's financial situation is pretty dismal at this point, and that there's been a tremendous amount of overspending, if you don't want to raise the revenue, then there has to be cuts in the budget.
Or there has to be something else. You have to grow the city, or
something else.
take away the homestead tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of the councilmen proposed this week.
That's right. I understand that was a hot button issue at City Council.
And how would whoever wants to go first, what are your thoughts? How do you do it? If you can't raise revenue, or if you're not willing to raise taxes, then what are your other thoughts?
Well, you have to make cuts. You have to make real cuts, and I think I mean, those are tough decisions, absolutely tough decisions. But the point is, how do we get here? Let's talk about the journey of getting here. When you go in and you're spending millions of dollars a year over what you bring in revenue, and you inflate your revenue, but then you it's just an example. I mean, the city just basically quit paying their bills on October 31st of this year. So then they act like that they saved $5.4 million. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a medical bill that's been due for 4 months, and they're just now addressing it because now they have the money to do it. But if you keep borrowing back like they have been, then we're just gonna constantly dig ourselves a hole.
So you're gonna make cuts. What are you gonna do?
I think you have to do the same thing. You have to find every possible way you can cut your budget and still provide the basic services that need to be provided by the city. The other thing you have to do is, grow the city. You have to try to bring jobs into the community. That's where I believe the medical center is a very positive thing for the city of Evansville.
Now, were you talking annexation or new development?
Well, I would view the medical center as a new development that, I liken it to USI, when USI was ISUE and started off very small in a little bitty commuter campus. And over the years, it's grown to a 10,000 person school. And I think the medical center has a potential to grow and actually create jobs, be it research, all different types of areas concerning medicine.
All right, well, let me throw out one of my favorite questions, and I think you asked this first. As a city councilman, you're a part-time, you have a full-time job, you have one now, but you're going to give it up. City council is the only body in government that I'm aware of that has no staff. County council has 2 staff members, and your own Mark Owen was instrumental in obtaining those staff members when you were on the county side. When you talk about examining the budget and sitting down and meeting with the mayor, how do you do that without a staff to even call to set up the meeting? So my question is, are you in favor of having city council have staff? And this, I guess, is kind of Not maybe one
Right.
word, but
Well,
close.
That's kind of a tough answer because already we talk about not having enough money and we're talking about trying to make cuts.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think, I don't know the number of staff, but if there's some way that funding can be secured, I think that would be a positive thing.
Yeah?
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think, I've said that from the time I was elected. How do you operate part-time without any support? You know, the mayor has 1,180 support people in his
That's right.
corner, plus he has unlimited money. I mean, he can have 10 attorneys look at something if he wants. What do we do? Well, what we do is we get on the internet and we make calls and we base things on past experiences and we talk to each other. You know, some people, everybody on the council has an expertise in something, believe it or not. You know, all of us do. I have different areas that I'm an expert. We have a CPA, we have attorneys, we have business owners.
Okay.
So we just basically try to work together and come to, and here we are, we're trying to, you know, what makes things difficult as a city councilman is it's about trust. It's about trust, you know. And I don't think we've had that, and I don't think it's.
When you say you don't think that there's been trust, are you talking about the relationship between the mayor and the city council as a whole?
Absolutely, because just as a perfect example, what we just came up with on the hotel. Now it's funny when we were negotiating what the city was going to put in the city council side. What we determined that we would go no more than $20 million, but the county came forward with $3.5 million, and that was the agreement. And we were going to bond $16.5 million. You know, it's for the parking garage and to connect the skyways and all that part of it. And then the county was going to come up with $3.5 million, but we were going to bond the entire $20 million. Well, as the council meeting, 2 council meetings ago, we get the layout of the economic side of the hotel in the package, and there it is. It's in there twice. The city council, $20 million. The city of Evansville, I say city council, but the bond for the city, and then I see $3.5 million from the county side. Well, when we question the administration, no, that's not correct. So we have a discussion about that. Well, you know, as the statement I made was, how could 9 people be wrong? What we heard, what we knew was supposed to be the, you know, so things like that. I mean, and it's not just a first time thing. It's a constant thing of well, just like another example.
Well, hang on. Let me jump in here because we want to make sure everybody has enough time to answer questions. Let me just ask of the role of the political party in running for this office. Did you seek, both of you, either of you, whether this time for you or in your original election, did you seek political party approval to run for office?
I've talked to no one in the Democrat Party about running. I decided on my own that I wanted to run for the 6th Ward seat, that I felt like I can help bring the council together to help solve problems.
Okay, and Al?
No, when I ran, you know, I ran numerous times, but I always had the same opinion. You know, we weren't getting proper representation. Excuse me, in the 6th Ward, I got these phrases on. But in the 6th Ward, so no. You can either complain or you can do something about it. Well, my point, I decided to do something about it.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and the issue came up Monday night. I think Councilman McGinn proposed that we needed to eliminate the homestead credit.
That's a tough subject.
And that is. And what's your position? Do you agree with them? Do you think that's the way we ought to be going, or what?
Well, and before we talk, get your answers, let's just explain a little bit about what the homestead credit is. It is a credit on your property tax bill that cuts your property tax bill and replaces that portion of your bill with option income taxes. So in other words, a portion of the income taxes that are paid by workers in the county then pay that tiny portion, 6%, 8%, it depends on who's doing the math, of the bill. So when they passed the county option income tax, the sweetener was, we're going to take some of that income tax and we're going to pay a bit of your property tax bill. Now it's being discussed again, I might add, that they're going to take that away and make us pay our whole property tax bill. Yeah. So are you in favor of that?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
We go right back to living within your means. No one in this room, no one in this city can go out and just spend money randomly and then come back and try to find another way to increase their income. Only through government and only through this city can they do those kind of things. And that's just from the simple fact that they've overspent and they don't know how to live within a budget.
Jim?
I wouldn't be in favor of it. It would be highly unpopular. You have to control spending. The mayor in the last couple of years with the budget has continued to draw down funds that are out there that are just like your savings account, and trying to use that to somewhat live beyond your means. And you can't continue to do that. You have
Well,
to,
I think that's the elephant in the room, though, isn't it? I mean, let's talk about it, Mark. Who approves that budget? The mayor proposes a budget, but who approves it?
Well, the council approves it, but I
Well,
think the
then,
issues...
aren't we just saying here that the council approved the ability of the mayor to overspend?
No, I think the council approves a budget, but I don't think they can control the spending. I mean, if you were given a budget and you continue to spend and spend and spend, that's not the city council.
Well,
That's an administrative
so what you're
executive decision.
saying is that the mayor should have been keeping an eye on revenues, and so should the council have been, perhaps?
Well,
the
it's not
council can't change the budget
It's
after
not
they
necessarily
pass
a
it.
revenue issue either, it's a spending issue.
Okay.
I mean, it's, there has to be controls on spending, and without that, you're gonna have a major problem. And I think that's the issue. I don't know, Al, is that,
Well, it doesn't matter what budget you set if you overspend it or you overstate your revenue. I mean, you can overstate your revenue.
And whose
Then
job
you
is it
spend less.
to
It's up to
forecast
the-
revenue?
The administration. It's up through the state sends down what their monies and what they project, and then they have property. So it's all a matter of past revenues, and then it just goes and they advance it. I think it's like 2 or 3% a year.
you can't base a budget on 100% of the tax revenues coming in, because you're never going to get 100%. You have to kind of base that budget on what amount or what percentage of taxes do you typically bring in, and base the budget on that. Otherwise, it's going to be an inflated budget that is going to require you to transfer funds, which cannot be done indefinitely.
let me kind of just change the subject a minute. I know a project that's near and dear to both of you, Mesker Amphitheater. Where do we go? Briefly.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was first elected, I'd like to say this, that I talked to Denise Johnson. I said, look.
And
I met
Denise
with her.
Johnson is our Parks Director.
Parks Director. I said, Denise, I know that in other cities, a revenue like this, or a venue like this has been better used, and there's a lot of different things we can do. And I'd like to see increased use of it.
Right.
Well, like 3 months later, I see that they're not even going to open it. So, I just think that, where there's a will, there's a way. And the only reason they moved it to the zoo is to take it off the Parks Department's, out of their budget.
So
I don't
could it
think
be
the will is there.
incorporated into the zoo as part of their,
No, I don't think that's ever been the plan, because the zoo is really it struggles too. So it's
Okay.
not, the expansion is going to be tough. But I think we could do a private, a public-private partnership, and I think of the Nut Club as being, but it takes an effort from the mayor also. I mean, as a city councilman, you're limited to what you can do. You got to
Without
have
staff,
an
that's for
administration
sure.
that is willing to step up and find answers. They didn't have any problem with the Owen Block building. I mean, they went wild on that one. But here, Mesker Amphitheater.
Let me make sure Jim has the opportunity to address the question.
Well, growing up in Evansville, I remember being at Mesker Amphitheater, Air Supply concert, July 4th. I don't remember the exact year. We've all been to concerts there if we grew up in Evansville. We love the Mesker Amphitheater, but it comes back to how are you going to pay for it? And, the public-private partnership, if you could find the right partner to work with, and it could be brought up to code and be usable to bring in good acts, that would be great. but it's going to require that kind of partnership with a private entity.
Well, we've reached the point in our show where it's time to give you the opportunity to make a closing statement, and you can just wrap it up. Tell us, again, a little bit about why you're seeking this office and what you would do when you got elected.
Or some goals that you have
Indeed.
if you were successful.
Well, I am running for the 6th Ward seat because I want to represent the West Side and the rest of the 6th Ward in a positive way. I grew up West Sider, went to Wrights, teach there, live 1 block from Wrights. My son went to Wrights. I just had a grandma that lived in Howell, had another grandma that lived 2 blocks from St. Anthony's Church. I'm deeply rooted in the West Side and care about the West Side community and the 6th Ward as a whole.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to say that I think I've earned a second term. I've stood up strong for the city of Evansville and for the West Side, and there's a lot of positive things I'd like to do. I definitely, Miss Grandpa Theater is on top of the list. I know if I get the Democrat mayor, I don't know if Gail Rican wins, that I'll have the backing and the support I'll need to open up that. There's a big storm drain system I want put in over at Mud Center. And I've got a lot of other projects. I've done a lot. I've worked hard for the West Side. And, I've moved to the West Side. I graduated from South Spencer. I've lived there 40 years. But I've raised all my children here. They both went to Mater Dei. My grandchildren go to school here. So to choose, when it's not incorporated into you, to choose a side of town like that speaks at how much I care about the West Side. I want to see it improved, and I think my background and the fact that I'm a fighter, and I know how the common people think because I deal with them every day as a firefighter, and my experience as a contractor. I know a lot of people on the West Side, and I think a lot of people are not that concerned about the fact that I don't go with the flow. I do what I think's right, and I don't back down. And when I stand strong for what I believe in.
Well, the mayor is currently a Republican, and there is going to be a spirited contest for the office of mayor. Mm-hmm. But your election will be determined in May. If your opponent wins the primary, will you support him in the general election?
That's what elections are for, to let the people decide who they want to lead them. If I would happen to lose the election and the people speak, then for sure I would support Al and hope that he would do a great job.
Oh, absolutely. I think I agree with Jim. That's what elections are for. Give the people a choice. If the people choose Jim other than me, then yeah, absolutely. We want good people in. We want people who are going to do the job, and they should be held to task. And I think the primary is for that. And every election is for that. If the people decide and determine that I have done a good enough job, and they feel that I need 4 more years, and I should get 4 more years, then that's fine. If Jim wins, and I think that's a good thing. And I think we want to stay strong as a Democrat and in the Democrat Party, and we should support our own. That's what's killed us in the past, and I think when it's over, we move on and we support who the winner is.
I'm going to take the opportunity to thank you, the viewer, for watching today. The show can be seen on WTSN, on Time Warner Cable, on WOW, and on the regular network. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
This year in the Tri-State, 1 out of 8 people will be in an accident.
Would you know what to do?
Pain and suffering, lost time if you're working.
When you call Woods & Woods, you are not a statistic. You are our client, and we will fight to get the money you deserve.
If you're in an accident, call Woods & Woods if you want justice.
If you've been injured, call 1-800-544-2108.
Let Woods & Woods work for you. You don't owe us a dime unless we win your case.